Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our special City Council meeting on July 15th. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Robin Aki.
Here.
Councilmember Mark Beam.
Here.
Councilmember Dave Gaddis.
Here.
Councilmember Jody Shirley.
Here.
Vice Mayor Glenn Gunn.
Here.
Mayor Joseph Manzo.
Here.
City Manager Lynn Reeves.
Here.
And Councilmember Rita Swope was unable to attend.
Okay, folks, we're here tonight, and thank you to citizens who are here. We're here tonight because Melanie Crozona, who had received the vote of this council, was unable or was unwilling to accept the contract that was presented to her, and City Manager Reeves informed me of that during the week. So we had no choice but to call this special meeting so that we could authorize the city manager to execute an agreement for accounting services and consider the short-term proposals for accounting services. Right now, there's only one service, one proposal on the table. So with that, I'm going to ask for a motion, please. So moved. Seconds? Glenn Gunn seconds. Council discussion?
Just, I have a question. Did we not take this out to bid, or we didn't advertise it at all? We just asked around for people to put forth the proposals?
We just asked people to put proposals because this is just a short-term fix to replace. It's not a long-term fix.
Well, and I understand we had a short termination time.
Right.
We only gave a 2-week notice, which I believe was just completely unacceptable. Leaving us in the middle of a budget session that she, which then I guess leads me to another question. We had a contract with Melanie, and there were funds paid for her continuing education, and can we all get a copy of that just to kind of get familiarize
Yeah,
ourselves?
she met her timeline by 1 month.
Of course she did.
Yeah. So
And we had, you and I discussed this a year ago,
yeah.
that we thought this was what would happen. Why we took no steps to avoid this is, I don't understand. And I won't understand. But this is why I didn't vote for her to begin with. Because I had a good feeling this would be the outcome.
So there is a plan in mind now to begin?
Yeah, Mr. Tess, he gave us a proposal, and I put in front of you the actual contract we're going to sign with him, and they're willing to come on, and it'll be for a 6-month period, and in that time frame, we will explore our options with a part-time person or what we need to do.
Do you have a time frame in mind for when we would start that process?
Well, there is a person that Mr. Tess has, an employee that may express some interest in it, so I want them to get in here, get started, and it may happen sooner than later, so. Kind of similar to what Bel Air Bluffs, he could not become an employee because he's a Bel Air Bluffs employee. That was his reason.
No, I appreciate that, but I'm just going to Ms. Shirley's point is that it'll go out for a wider broadcast bid.
Well, it won't be a bid if we have to hire an employee. It'll be advertised. And based on the memo we got from the attorney, that's what we will eventually have to do. Right now, the focus is to get through the budget process
Yeah.
and make sure we meet all our deadlines.
Okay, thank you.
I had a couple of observations, questions. So let me start with the observation. Last week, I cast what was the deciding vote to get Melanie Crozona this contract. And I got to tell you, after reading that letter, which speaks for itself, I'm disgusted. And I wish I hadn't done that. And I apologize to the fellow members on this group that I often follow, because you were right. Jody Shirley, Glenn Gunn, there was one other persons, I believe. Was it Marv? Marv, yeah. You were right, okay? I'm not going to play the revisionist history game, okay? We bent over backward to get this contract out. This council had some questions for Lynn Reeves when she first announced her resignation, and he was sent back to get some information for us. That was at our July 1st meeting, and he promptly got back to us and we held another meeting. So Lynn did what he was supposed to do. He was also in almost constant contact with me, keeping me abreast of what was going on. And my thought was that her price was good and that there was no learning curve was going to help this city. But to see it written that she didn't feel comfortable, didn't feel like she was appreciated, that's absolute rubbish, okay? I praised her multiple times. Robin Aki praised her on her last day here. And, you know, to come here to basically let on that you're interested and then waste a week of our time, it's not a good way to lead the city. And I'll just leave it at that. I'm disgusted. So, with that said, Lynn, I just had a couple of questions. I didn't see the contract until I just came in today, so I'll review that tomorrow. I'm not going to do it tonight because I'm not feeling well. But I didn't see in this proposal for Mr. Tess's firm anything about preparation of the budgets and certain prep work, preparation of the reports that we do on a monthly basis. I know they're not going to present them, but I didn't see the preparation for that. I could have missed them, but I think I didn't see that. So I just want to make sure that, in fact, we are going to get that work from them.
Yeah, the budget for the most part is done, and I went in and done the revisions on the last work session myself. So we're in good stead with that. The things that he'll be helping us more so with the budget, because it's finished for the most part, is the trim notice, which I have to get to the tax appraiser on August 2nd, and other things, and we'll get through that, and then other regulatory reports that we need to do. He's got those in here. He will develop a financial thing, they won't come to the council meeting.
Financial plans, right, okay. And I mean, if we have questions, you can be the liaison, get back to them.
Right.
Okay. I just want to reiterate, it's been said by Jody, it's been said, I'm sorry, that we're in council session, Councilwoman Shirley, Vice Mayor Gunn, that this needs to be a short-term contract. I know we have up to 6 months, but we also have a 30-day kick-out here at any point, so on 30 days' notice, we can go out. I realize we're in the middle of the budget season. I'm not saying it has to be done today, but certainly I would like to see this done more sooner than later, that we advertise. Now, I don't want to get pigeonholed into saying we have to bring this in as another person. We do right to our charter right now, but that charter is also up for grabs come January, so we start the charter revision committee. And maybe that's the way to go on this, because as I look at the scope of services here, we basically should have never had this as a full-time job in the past. I don't know why it has for so many years was a full-time job, because it looks to me like it's a part-time, you want to call it accounting, but it's almost like a bookkeeping type job. It's not a heavy financial officer's type job, and I don't know that it needs to even be elevated to a charter status, my opinion. But I just want to focus on that and say, yes, I'm going to approve this. I am going to approve it conditionally upon me taking a look at the contract. I'll be back in touch with you if there's any issues, but I'm going to assume that it's a pretty standard accountant's contract, which I've drawn up myself in the past, so it shouldn't be much of an issue.
Is this pretty much what you showed us in the last meeting's practice?
Yeah, what I did, I took the proposal and had Paul and Jackie just replace it into our version of the engagement letter. And I sent it to Mr. Tess. He had a couple of things he wanted to change, but it was so minor.
It's pretty much the same, because I went through the previous one with it.
Yeah. So we're good.
Excellent. And if that's what's happened, because I went through the previous one also, then I'm not going to have much issue on this one, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but basically what I did is I said, here's his proposal. I want you to convert it to a contract. And that's what he did for Melanie. And she said her lawyer didn't like what was in it, and I'm like,
That's where you pick up the phone and you talk to the other council and work out those bugs or the discrepancies.
well, I offered her that option, but never
I
heard
mean,
back.
from a professional, that's what you would do.
Yeah, but I didn't hear back from her.
Lynn, you did a good job with this. Thanks for jumping in on this. I know we'd spoken about that firm, and I'm glad they were interested. I know they do fine work across the pond here, so I think we'll be happy, be very satisfied with them. We haven't hired them yet, so we have to, I think we're ready.
Well, I need them to get hired.
That's what we're gonna do.
Can I add on to the mayor's comments, just in a broader scope? I mean, this is a necessity. We need to absolutely move forward on this. In general, though, what I'd like to say is, we've had some personnel changes recently, and we've had a windfall because, in the budget, because of the savings in pay and benefits with this, and I just want to kind of not caution us as a group, but maybe to be slow in how we start making permanent changes with personnel description, job descriptions, pay and benefits, and moving jobs around and pay. So that's all I'm saying. Let's just be slow and make sure we do that methodically.
Absolutely agree. Any other council comments? There are two citizens. Any comments? I'm saying no. So the issue before the board now that we'll go to vote is to authorize the city manager, read this officially here, to authorize the city manager to execute an agreement for accounting services. This will be for the test firm according to the contract that was submitted tonight. I'm just going to put a 24-hour hold on it. I will look at this tomorrow and just confirm that it's fine, but I'm going to expect that based on what happened, it will be fine. So unless there's something drastic, everybody would know about it. We're going to approve that contract that he handed us tonight, with the proviso that this stay as short-term as possible. And if we're going to go longer, then we're going to have to bid this thing out the proper way and decide what we're going to do. Okay. Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Aki?
Aye.
Councilmember Beam?
Aye.
Councilmember Gaddis?
Aye.
Councilmember Shirley?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gunn?
Aye.
Mayor Manzo?
Aye. The motion passes 6-0. City Manager, you're authorized to proceed with this. I will look at this first thing in the morning, so if you don't hear from me by noon, it's good to go. With that said, I'm going to set a record and finish a meeting in 15 minutes here. Does anybody else have any other items? I don't think we could put them on even if we wanted to, because this was a special meeting. Anybody has any other issues? Our next meeting is, there was an error on that one report, so it's Wednesday, and the other thing they're going to change on that is we're not only interviewing these people, we're making that selection that night, so that'll come out. So be prepared to cast your vote for one of those three firms and have your questions. We've decided, by the way, to do this thing in an open fashion. There was a question about whether this should be closed or open. There is a cutout, a carve-out, I thought, in the state law, where it can actually be taken out of the sunshine. It talks about when you're questioning vendors. The problem is I spent about 2 hours with the State Attorney General's office. We had Paul Marino's firm, Jackie checked with other attorneys in other cities, and the bottom line is it's a wonderful Florida law that is vague as all get-go. They don't even define what vendor is, so we're not really sure. So we're going to err on the side of caution here, and we're going to keep this one in the sunshine, and we'll have this one out there. But it is something that there's actually been no Attorney General opinions on this thing. The person I spoke to was the foremost expert in the state on the sunshine law, said I would keep it in the sunshine given what the situation is. It's also important to know that our attorney did recommend that we keep it in the sunshine. So if we have as a council much more insulation if we follow our attorney's advice. So we're going to follow it. We'll keep this one in the sunshine. There will be no public comments on this. So basically it's going to be our questions. We'll come prepared. We will question them and then make our decision. So with that, is there a motion to adjourn? Unless anybody has any comments on that? We have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Done in 14 minutes. Mark that.